Have you ever noticed that some men can walk into a room, say almost nothing impressive, and somehow women lean in, laugh more, and remember them long after they leave, while other men try harder, talk more, and get ignored as if they are invisible? That difference is not luck, and it is not magic. It is structure. It is psychology. And one of the most controversial frameworks that tried to decode that structure is the mystery method. Today, I am going to break it down without filters, without sugarcoating, and show you exactly why, despite all the changes in dating, its core principles still work when you understand them deeply and apply them with integrity. Before you ever learn a line, a routine, or a technique, you need to understand something very simple and very brutal. Attraction is not a democratic process. Women do not sit there with a spreadsheet in their minds comparing your height, your income, your job title, and then calmly deciding, I choose this one. Attraction is a fast, emotional, instinctive reaction built on millions of years of evolution. That reaction can be influenced, it can be triggered, it can be killed, but it cannot be negotiated. The mystery method, at its core, is not about memorizing tricks. It is about placing yourself in the position where that instinctive reaction starts working in your favor instead of against you. You have been taught a lie since you were young. You were told, be nice, be available, show that you care, and eventually the right woman will see your value. But what happens in reality? The more available you are, the more you chase, the more you try to convince her, the more her attraction drops. She may like you as a human being. She may say you are a good guy, but she does not feel that pull. That is because you are starting from the wrong phase. You are trying to build connection and romance before you have built attraction. The mystery method became famous because it put a clear structure on something most men experience as chaos. First attraction, then comfort, then seduction. In that order. If you reverse that order, everything becomes awkward, forced, and full of rejection. Let us start with the first phase, attraction. Most men think attraction is about looks or money. Yes, physical appearance and resources can help, but they are not the full picture. Research on mate selection shows women consistently prioritize traits like confidence, social status, emotional stability, humor, and ambition. Those traits signal that you are capable of navigating the world, protecting yourself, and creating a good future. The mystery method called these demonstrations of higher value, or DHVs. The idea is simple. Instead of chasing a woman and asking for her approval, you create moments where she sees, without you boasting, that you are a man with options, standards, and a meaningful life. Most men do the exact opposite. They walk up to a woman and immediately put her on a pedestal. They stare too long, their body is stiff, their voice goes up, and all the sub-communication screams, "You are above me, please accept me." That is not neutral, that is low value. The mystery method teaches you to flip that frame. You are not walking into her world begging to be allowed in. You are inviting her into yours. That is why the method emphasizes things like approaching groups instead of isolating a single woman immediately, talking to everyone, not just the most attractive woman there, and positioning yourself as the center of a fun social moment instead of a man seeking approval. One of the most misunderstood parts of the mystery method is the opener. Men obsess over the perfect opening line, as if one sentence will magically unlock attraction. In reality, the opener is not about content, it is about sub-communication. Are you relaxed? Are you willing to interrupt social inertia and create a new moment in the environment? Are you comfortable being seen? The opener exists to show that you can step into a social situation, take initiative, and handle the attention that comes with it. That alone signals confidence and leadership. When your body, eyes, and tone say, "I belong here, and I am comfortable with myself," almost any socially calibrated opener can work. Another controversial concept is the neg. People misunderstand it as an insult. That is not the point. The deeper psychology is this. Very attractive women are used to men overvaluing them. Compliments, worship, instant compliance. That floods them with attention but kills their respect for those men. The mystery method uses negs as a way to show that you are not impressed by looks alone, that you have standards, and that you are willing to gently challenge her. The key is not cruelty. It is playful nonchalance. It is the energy of, you are attractive, sure, but I am still evaluating who you are as a person. Men who master this subtle balance come across as grounded, selective, and confident, not rude. Underneath all the techniques, the attraction phase is built on a few core psychological levers. First, pre-selection. When women see that other women respond well to you, laugh with you, or trust you, they automatically assume you have something valuable. Studies on social proof show that people use others' reactions as shortcuts for decision-making. Second, emotional stimulation. Attraction grows when a woman feels different emotions around you, not just comfort, playfulness, challenge, curiosity, surprise. The mystery method pushes you to tease, to tell stories that reveal your passions, to create contrast in the interaction. Third, scarcity and boundaries. When you are not instantly available, when your time is clearly valuable, when you can walk away at any moment, you trigger her instinct to invest and reevaluate you. Now, why does this still work today, in a world of apps, social media, and endless distractions? Because the female nervous system has not updated its operating system to match Tinder's interface. A woman can have thousands of followers and likes, but in real life, she still responds to a man who can lead a moment, handle tension, and stay calm under pressure. In fact, in a world where many men hide behind screens, the man who can create a live, in-person experience stands out even more. The environment changed, the brain did not. That is why the structure of attraction in the mystery method, when stripped of its outdated gimmicks, still hits directly on what works. Once attraction is ignited, the classic mistake is trying to escalate too fast. Many men feel the first spark, panic, and rush to physical escalation or heavy sexual energy. They skip the comfort phase. The mystery method insisted on building comfort through time spent together, shared experiences, and genuine connection. This is not being just friends. It is creating a layer of trust where her nervous system stops seeing you as a stranger and starts seeing you as a safe, familiar presence. Without this, escalation feels like a threat. With this, escalation feels natural. Psychology backs this. Trust and bonding are heavily influenced by consistent, emotionally safe interactions. When you show up as grounded, congruent, and reliable, you calm her defenses. When she can predict that you will not explode, sulk, or pressure her, her body relaxes. The mystery method operationalized this with ideas like repeated contact, spending time in different locations, and having conversations that go beyond surface-level topics. The point was to move from random guy she met to man she actually knows on a deeper level. That transition is where many modern men fail, especially those who only rely on superficial tricks or digital messaging. Comfort is also where your values and identity become real. Attraction alone can be triggered by a few minutes of intense interaction. Comfort requires showing congruence between your words and your behavior. Are you consistent? Do your boundaries hold? Do you respect her boundaries without becoming passive? In this phase, you design the emotional environment. You slow down the pace. You listen actively. You ask questions that reveal who she actually is, not just her appearance. And at the same time, you reveal aspects of yourself that show direction, purpose, and emotional strength. When done correctly, this does not make you less masculine. It amplifies your presence, because you are no longer just an exciting stranger, you are a grounded man with depth. This is also why the method still works even if you strip away scripted routines. The routines were never the real power. They were training wheels to help socially inexperienced men practice leading interactions. The real leverage is the structure. Spark attraction with confident, fun, socially intelligent behavior. Sustain that attraction by adding trust, familiarity, and emotional depth. Then, and only then, move toward seduction. If you understand that structure, you can adapt it to any environment: a bar, a coffee shop, a social event, a class, even a dating app chat that leads to a real-life meeting. The phases do not change, only the surface form does. Now we reach the seduction phase, which is where the method has received the most criticism, and often for good reason. Some interpretations pushed men to use pressure, alcohol, or manipulative tactics to get a physical outcome. That is not only unethical, it is weak. Real seduction under a high-value frame is not about forcing an outcome. It is about making it safe and exciting for both of you to express what is already there. Consent is not just a legal checkbox. It is the foundation of genuine high-quality experiences. A man who truly sees himself as high value does not need to push. He reads signals, he pays attention, he escalates gradually, and he is perfectly willing to slow down or stop if she hesitates. That attitude, paradoxically, often increases her trust and her desire, because she feels fully free to choose. In the classic model, seduction is about moving from emotional closeness to physical intimacy. The mystery method talked about kino escalation, or the gradual introduction of touch. The psychology behind this is that human beings bond through appropriate, calibrated physical contact. The problem is that many men either avoid touch completely out of fear, or jump to intense touch without calibration. The structured approach is to build small, socially normal touches that are easy to accept, then gradually increase intimacy as long as her responses remain positive and relaxed. Again, the power is not in a mechanical checklist, but in your ability to stay present, read her body language, and remain grounded instead of desperate. So why is the mystery method still relevant? Because it forces you to see attraction as a process, instead of a random outcome. It forces you to stop trying to convince women logically and start creating emotional experiences. It forces you to build yourself into a man with actual value, instead of a man reciting lines. The parts that age poorly are the superficial gimmicks, overly scripted routines, robotic behavior, and any manipulative tactics. The parts that remain strong are the foundations: pre-selection, social proof, emotional stimulation, clear boundaries, structured escalation, and respect for the sequence of attraction, comfort, and seduction. Let us break down some specific elements that still work, and why. Peacocking. The method became famous for encouraging men to dress in a way that stands out. That can sound ridiculous if you imagine feather boas and outrageous accessories, but the deeper principle is valid: distinctiveness. In a crowded environment, the brain pays more attention to what is visually different. When you dress in a way that is well-groomed, slightly bold, and congruent with your personality, you become easier to notice and remember. You do not need to look like a caricature. You just need to give the eye a reason to stop on you. In a world where many men dress like clones, a man who expresses his identity visually and carries it with confidence gains an immediate advantage. Social proof and group dynamics. The mystery method emphasizes interacting with groups, especially in nightlife contexts. This is not just a tactic to get to a woman. It is based on social psychology. Humans are deeply influenced by the reactions of others. When you can enter a group, include everyone, make them laugh, and handle mild resistance with composure, you demonstrate real social intelligence. Women watch how others respond to you. If they see others smiling, trusting, and responding well, they feel safer and more curious. This is equally true today at social events, parties, and gatherings. The man who can handle groups owns the environment. Disqualification. This is the technique of showing that you are not desperately trying to win a specific woman. For example, signaling that you are not automatically interested, or that you have standards that she may or may not meet. Many men misunderstand this as pretending not to be attracted at all. The deeper purpose is to remove pressure. When a woman feels that you are evaluating her too, that you are not going to cling to her just because she is attractive, she relaxes. Her guard lowers because she no longer feels hunted. This shift from hunter versus prey to two people evaluating each other changes everything. It gives you power because you are no longer begging. You are choosing. Time constraints and non-neediness. The method encourages you to signal that you cannot stay long, that you have somewhere to be, that your time is limited. This is not about lying. It is about embodying the reality that you have a life. Only men without options feel the need to linger endlessly around a woman hoping something happens. When you approach, create a moment, and then leave at your own rhythm, you send a strong message: I enjoy this interaction, but I am not dependent on it. That energy is extremely attractive because it signals abundance. You have other priorities, other people, other projects. You are not making her the center of your world instantly. Inner game and emotional control. One of the most important long-term benefits of studying the mystery method is not the outer techniques, it is the inner transformation. When you repeatedly face social fear, approach strangers, handle rejection, and remain composed, you are training your nervous system. You are building resilience. Over time, this rewires your self-image. You stop seeing yourself as the passive observer and start seeing yourself as the man who moves, who acts, who creates opportunities instead of waiting for them. Women feel this difference. A man who is comfortable with tension, with silence, with risk, radiates a different energy. That energy is what the method was trying to create through exposure and structured practice. Ethical calibration. In the original scene where this method was popularized, there was often a lack of nuance around mental health, trauma, and boundaries. Today, if you want to use these principles and still respect yourself, you have to add a layer of ethics. That does not make you weaker, it actually makes you more powerful. When you know you are not manipulating, lying, or pushing, your conscience is clear. You can be bold without guilt. You can flirt without shame. You can escalate without feeling like a predator. That clean energy is felt. Real charisma comes from alignment between your actions and your values. So you take the structure of the method and you filter it through your standards as a man. So how do you start applying this in your life without turning into a robot or a manipulator? First, you stop worshiping any woman. You stop chasing attention. You start building your own value through your body, your purpose, your style, your social life. When your life is already interesting, your conversations stop revolving around trying to impress and start revolving around sharing reality. A man with purpose automatically hits several DHV points without saying a word. Second, You approach more. You expose yourself to social tension on purpose, not just in nightlife but in normal life, coffee shops, daytime events, classes, gatherings. You practice opening groups, maintaining eye contact, holding your frame even when you feel nervous. Over time, this becomes normal. The mystery method was always about repetition and field experience. You cannot think your way into social mastery. You have to live it. Third, you treat attraction, comfort, and seduction as phases, not as a random blur. In the beginning, you focus on being fun, confident, and slightly challenging. You do not overshare your trauma or your deepest wounds in the first minutes. Once attraction is clearly there, you gradually shift into deeper conversation, shared experiences, and trust building. Only after both of those layers are present do you gradually escalate physically. That sequence matters. Respect it and dating becomes smoother. Ignore it, and you create constant friction. Fourth, you eliminate neediness from your behavior. You do not text non-stop. You do not ask for reassurance. You do not seek permission to exist. You stay grounded in your own rhythm. You are warm, flirtatious, and fully present when you are with her, but you do not disappear into her world and lose your own. The mystery method tried to encode this in rules about how long to stay, when to leave, how to time investment. You do not need to follow rigid rules, but you do need the principle: remain a man with his own center. Fifth, you upgrade your communication. Teasing, pushing and pulling, playful challenge. These are tools to create emotional variety. Women get bored with flat, predictable interactions. They are drawn to men who can make them feel a range of emotions in a short period, as long as there is respect underneath it. The method emphasized stacking routines and playful banter to create that roller coaster effect. You can create it more naturally by combining humor, curiosity, deep questions, and quick flips between seriousness and play. When you see the mystery method like this, without the fantasy, without the hero worship, you realize it is not a magical formula. It is a map. Human psychology is the territory. The map is not perfect, but it is useful. It reminds you that women respond to emotional experiences, not logical arguments. It reminds you that your value is not what you say you are, but what your behavior signals. It reminds you that in every interaction there is a structure: spark, connect, escalate. And now, let us answer the real question: why does it still work? Because most men are more distracted, more timid, and more disconnected from their masculinity than ever. Many live behind screens. Many fear rejection so much that they never walk up to a woman. Many are so starved for approval that they hand away their power the second a woman smiles at them. In that landscape, a man who understands social dynamics, who can approach, lead, and stay composed, stands out even more than when the method was first created. The bar is actually lower. At the same time, women today are more guarded in some ways. They have seen lazy lines. They have experienced toxic men. They are more alert to manipulation. That means the superficial parts of the method fail faster. If you rely on robotic routines, you get exposed quickly. But if you extract the psychological truths and fuse them with authenticity, you become rare, a man who understands attraction and respects women. So your path forward is this: use the mystery method as a framework to structure your growth, not as a mask to hide behind. Study how attraction is triggered: pre-selection, social proof, emotional variety, boundaries. Practice entering groups, leading conversations, and holding your frame. Build comfort through genuine curiosity, shared experiences, and consistent presence. Escalate with sensitivity, reading her signals, and always prioritizing consent. Drop what feels manipulative or out of alignment with who you want to be as a man. If you do that, this method stops being a set of tricks from an old book and becomes a living discipline. The discipline of mastering your social presence, your emotional control, and your masculine polarity. That is why it still works. Not because of feathers, props, or memorized scripts, but because it points you toward a deeper truth. Attraction is a consequence of who you are and how you show up, moment by moment. From this point on, every room you walk into is practice. Every social setting is a field where you sharpen your awareness and your courage. You are not waiting for the perfect opportunity. You are creating opportunities. And as you internalize this structure, something powerful happens. You stop obsessing over individual women and start focusing on your own evolution. Ironically, that is when women begin to feel something different around you. A man who is not begging for attention, but who commands it naturally. That is the mystery method without filters, stripped to its core and updated for your life. Not a gimmick, a roadmap. What you do with it will decide whether you stay where you are or become the man whose presence quietly shifts the energy of every room he enters. The mystery method explained without filters, and why it still works.